Good morning again. Our topic for today is the system of nonlinear equations. So if we say nonlinear, of course, very obvious, not linear. Okay. Hindi siya linear equations. Ano ba yung mga linear equations? Pag sinabi mong linear equations, of course, they create, kapag rinaf natin, it represents a line, right? Yun yung mga linear. So, other than that, lahat ng hindi mag-create ng line, we call them nonlinear equations. Ang linear equations, sila yung mga equations na may degree na 1. So, lahat ng variables, ang degree niya ay 1. For example, ito, 2x plus 3y equals 5. That is a linear equation because all of the variables, the terms in the equation, yung pinakamataas na degree ng terms is 1. Okay, the highest degree of the terms is 1. So, that is a linear equation. Y equals x plus 5 is also a linear equation. However, x squared plus y squared equals 25 is not a linear, that is a non-linear equation. Kasi yung degree niya, so yung x natin, variable x, ang degree niya na ay 2. Degree, ibig sabihin yung exponent. And then y has also a degree of 2. So, hindi na po siya linear, that is a non-linear equation. And actually, that is an equation for a circle with radius of 5. So, kapag rinaf mo, hindi line yung makikita mo, kundi isang circle, which is a conic section. Y minus 1 squared equals 4 times x minus 1. That is also a nonlinear equation. Kasi, tingnan nyo, yung variable na y, yung y minus 1, pag in-expand mo yan, magkikreate yan ng y squared na variable or merong degree na 2. Although yung x variable natin, ang degree niya ay 1, yung y naman is ang degree niya ay 2. So, kung meron kaagad-agad, kahit mag-iisa man siya na variable or term dun sa equation mo, which has a degree of 2 and above, or that is not 1, has a degree other than 1, then nonlinear equation po kagad yun. Kahit nag-iisa siya, basta't meron kang term na ang degree ay hindi 1, that is non-linear equation. How about xy equals 14? Okay, although this equation, baka sabihin nyo, sir, 1 po yung degree ng x, 1 yung degree ng y. Is this still a linear equation? Hindi na po. Okay? Non-linear po ito kasi si x and y, although ang exponent nila ay 1, product po sila. That means ang degree ng xy as a whole term is 1 and 1, that is 2. Kasi naka-multiply po siya. So, ang degree ni xy ay 2 because 1 degree for the x variable, 1 degree for the y variable. That creates second degree equation. So, non-linear pa rin to. And actually, pag rinaf natin to, hindi line yung makikita natin, kundi that is a hyperbola. Okay? So, I hope you nalaman natin kung ano yung distinction between a non-linear and linear equation. So, we are already familiar actually dun sa system of linear equations. Nakapag-solve na tayo actually sa previous years natin or previous grade natin, no? Earlier sa junior and senior high school, alam na natin yung system of linear equations. Pag sinabi mong system of linear equations, meron kang binubuo ng mga two or more linear equations. Ganon din po sa system of non-linear equations. System of non-linear equations is grupo siya ng mga non-linear equations and also linear. Okay? Kung meron kang system of equations or grupo ng mga equation na at least one of them is non-linear, tatawagin mo na siyang system of non-linear equations. And ang notation natin, kadalasan is yung nakikita natin dito. So, nilalagyan siya, kadalasan nito, yan, yung curly bracket. to denote na system siya. Ibig sabihin, magkakasama sila. They are taken as a whole. So, and usually, what we are going to do is to find the solution set for the system of linear equations. Ibig sabihin, the value of x, y, or the set of the ordered pair xy na makakapag-satisfy dito sa system of equations natin. Ibig sabihin, pag sinubstitute ko yung ordered pair ko or yung values for x and y, masasatisfy niya yung equation 1 and at the same time equation 2 and equation 3 kung meron pa 4 and so on. So dapat pag sinabi nating determine the solution set, kunin natin yung value or yung ordered pair values ng x and y that will satisfy all of the equations in the system of equations. Okay, just to clarify, no, pag sinabi mong system of nonlinear equations, pwede pa rin siyang magkaroon ng linear. Kagaya nga nito, itong x minus y equals 5, linear siya. Okay, however, meron siyang kasamang nonlinear. So kahit meron tayong nonlinear, kahit meron tayong linear dito, kung meron tayong kasamang nonlinear, it is still regarded as a system of nonlinear equations. Pero syempre, kung walang nonlinear dyan, system of linear equations lang yung tawag. Okay, so kung at least one of the equations dun sa system is nonlinear, you already call that a system of nonlinear equations. So how are we going to solve the system or the solution set for the system of nonlinear equations? Kung matatandaan nyo, dun sa system of linear equations, meron tayong ilang methods yun. Actually, ang naturo lang siguro sa atin is dalawa lang. We have the substitution method and the elimination method. At yun lang din po yung gagamitin natin dito sa system of nonlinear equations. So let's proceed with the first method to solve for a system of nonlinear equations. The first method is what we call the substitution method. From the title itself, kailangan mo lang mag-substitute. So what are we going to do is step 1, pili ka ng one equation doon sa system, no, sa mga grupo ng equation natin, and then you solve for one variable in that equation na napili mo. For example, you solve for x or you solve for y. Usually, because system of nonlinear equations can have a linear equation, kadalasan, si linear equation yung pinipili kasi mas madali siya. Okay? Pero kung lahat sila nonlinear, wala namang kaso. Actually, wala din namang kaso kahit piliin mo si linear equation na hindi. Basta pili ka lang ng isang equation. Okay? And then, you solve for one variable in that equation, dun sa unang equation. Pwedeng isolve mo si x or isolve mo si y. Nasa sa'yo yun. After solving for x or y, or one of the variables sa first equation, isa-substitute mo siya, yung nakuha mong sagot dito sa step 2, isa-substitute mo siya doon sa ibang equation. Huwag mo siyang i-substitute doon sa ginamit mo sa step 1. Okay? Isa-substitute mo yung nakuha mo sa step 1 sa ibang equation other than the equation that you used in step 1. Pagka-substitute mo, of course, you will solve kung ano man yung variable na pwede mong isolve. And then, yung makukuha mong sagot dito sa number 3 is isa-substitute mo doon sa step 1 para makuha mo yung other variable. Usually naman, dalawang variable lang nga to kasi kalinya ito ng connect section. So, dalawa lang, x and y variable. So, for example, mayroon tayong dalawang equation. Saan ako magsusulat? Kunwari, equation 1, equation 2. Okay, step 1, pinili mo si equation 1. Okay, sinolve mo si x in terms of y. Actually, yung magiging sagot dito sa step 1 is sinolve mo si x in terms of y. Yung makukuha mo ngayon na equation dito sa 1, isa-substitute mo sa 2. And then, what you can solve in step 3 is you solve the value of y. pagka-solve mo ng value of y, isa-substitute mo yan sa step 1 para ma-solve mo na si value of x. So, nakuha mo na si x and y. Okay, para makita nyo properly, ma-visualize natin ng tama, magsagot tayo ng example na applying these 4 simple steps for substitution method. Okay, example number 1, find the solution set of the system of nonlinear equations below using the substitution method. Okay, meron lang tayong dalawang equation. We have x squared plus y squared equals 13 and x minus y equals 5. Obviously, meron tayong linear equation, di ba? Yung equation number 2 is a linear equation. And sabi ko nga, pag when we are doing step 1 in choosing equations, kung meron ka dun sa system of equations mo na linear, siya kaagad yung piliin mo kasi mas madali instead of choosing nonlinear equation. So for step 1, I choose equation number 2. Dito ko po sulat sa next slide, okay? For step 1 is choosing an equation and solving one variable. So I choose equation number 2. Equation number 2 is x minus y equals 5. This is equation number 2. And step 1 says, isolve natin yung isang variable dyan. Okay, nasa sa'yo yan, it's either y or si x ang isa-solve mo. Dapat parehas lang yung makuha nating sagot at the end of the solution. So, for this example, I will choose x. Solving for x, ibig sabihin, ititira ko sa x dito sa left side. Anything na kasama ni x ay itatranspose ko dun sa right side. Which means, si negative y, I will transpose that to the right and ayan, simplify. So, x equals y plus 5. Naging positive na si y kasi negative y transpose to the right, y plus 5. So, ito na yung result ng step 1. We already solved for one variable in terms of the other variable in one of the equations. For step 2, okay, step 1 check. Step 2, isa-substitute ko ngayon ito nakuha ko sa step 1 sa other equations. So, dalawa lang naman itong equation natin. Nagamit mo na si equation 2 doon sa step 1. So, yung equation 1 na lang yung matitira. Okay, i-copyhin ko lang itong equation 1. Ang equation 1 natin is x squared plus y squared equals 13. This is equation 1. Sa-substitute ko na ngayon yung nakuha ko sa step 1, which is x equals y plus 5. Ibig sabihin, papalitan ko lang lahat ng x ng y plus 5 from the result of step 1. So, itong x squared ay magiging y plus 5 squared plus y squared equals 13. After mong ma-substitute, of course, isi-simplify mo. And step 3 is to solve for the value nung variable na may iiwan. So, expand ko lang muna itong y plus 5 squared. We get y squared plus 10y plus 25 plus y squared equals 13. Simplify, 2y squared plus 10y. Ilipat natin si 13. So, minus 13 equals 0. Simplifying further, 2y squared plus 10y plus 25 minus 13 is 12. Positive 12 equals.
So, what did we get 2y squared?
We have 2y squared on the result 0. We have y squared from the expansion of y plus 5 squared. And originally, from equation number 1, we have y squared also. So, y squared and y squared, that makes up 2y squared. Here, there is an original y squared from equation 1. So that makes dalawang y squared, we get 2y squared. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so we have 2y squared plus 10y plus 12 equals 0 as a result of step 2. So we now head for go on with step 3. Step 3 is we solve for the result or one variable in the result of step 2. So the result is 2y squared plus 10y plus 12 because that is only a quadratic equation in one variable. So we solve for y. We can do that by quadratic formula or completing the square, or if you can factor it, let's factor it. What are the factors? So factor out 12, we get 3 and 4. And lahat sila positive, so positive lahat. Right? Kasi when we multiply 4y, we got 4y. 4 times y, 4y, 2y times 3, 6y. So we get 10y. So that is the proper factoring. And then, we solve for y. Separate natin siya. Factor out, then equate sa 0. So we get the roots of the equation to be y equals, okay. Transpose positive 4, we get negative 4. Divided by 2, divided by 2, and y equals negative 2. On the other hand, transpose positive 3, we get negative 3. So we have two solutions for y. We have y equals negative 2, and then y equals negative 3. That is the result for step 3. For step 4, we substitute these values in equation number 1, or for step number 1, I'm sorry. So step number 1, we created the equation x equals y plus 5 from equation number 2. Yan, that is the result for step 1. However, for step 3, we solve y equals negative 2. So for y equals negative 2, that means we substitute the value of negative 2 to y. So we have negative 2 plus 5, and we get positive 3. And then for y equals negative 3, we get x equals negative 3 plus 5, sorry, uh, x equals positive 2. That means, okay, our ordered pair is positive 3, negative 2, and then 2, negative 3. Okay, x, y, x, y. Yun yun. Ordered pair kasi sila. Sorry, nagma-malfunction yung pen tablet. Yan, ordered pair sila. So, the solution set, actually, we have to write it in set notation. Yan, set roster. Kailangan natin siyang enclose sa curly brace to denote that it is a set, or the solution is a set. Yan. This is the solution set. This is what we call the solution set. And actually, if we graph the equation, as you can see, kanina pa lumalabas itong graph, x squared plus y squared equals 13 is a circle, and the line x plus y equals 5 is a line. And the solution set is actually the intersection of the two equations. So, nandun po, naka-indicate yung blue points. Yun po. So, ganon din dun sa pag-solve natin, if yung maalala nyo, sa system of linear equations, di ba? Pag kinukuha na natin yung solution dun sa system of linear equations, yung nakukuha natin is yung intersection ng line. The point of intersection between the lines. Ganon din po dito sa system of nonlinear equations. yung makukuha nating sagot is actually the intersection of the graphs. Yan. So, any question po for the substitution method? There is the other method called the elimination method. May mga times kasi na hindi naman sa hindi applicable si substitution. It's medyo hassle kapag ginamitan ng substitution method. For example, kapag parehas na mga nonlinear equations lahat yan, kung wala kang kasamang linear equation, medyo hassle mag-substitution kasi mag-i-square root yan. So, we can use the other method, especially kung meron tayong makikita mga indicators, mamaya sabihin natin. Sa elimination method is, ang gagawin lang natin, step 1, multiply one or both of the equations by appropriate constant or constants so that one of the variables in each of the equation will have the same coefficient with opposite signs.
Okay, so can you show us?
So going back, these are the steps for the elimination method. Una, mag-iisip ka ng i-multiply in one or both equations kung pwede ng appropriate constant. So, ibig sabihin nun, number. Mag-isip ka ng number or numbers na i-multiply mo dun sa isang one of the variables para magkaroon siya ng opposite sign doon sa pangalawa. Or para yung mga, for example, kung dalawa yung equation mo sa system, yung dalawa doon ay magkaroon ng opposite sign pero same yung coefficient. Kasi pag pinag-add natin sila, tapos same yung coefficient pero opposite sila ng sign, pag pinag-add natin, may eliminate sila, di ba? Para siyang negative 5x plus 5x, cancel yon. Kaya nga tinawag siyang elimination method. Ang aim mo is ma-eliminate yung one of the variables para isa na lang yung tatrabahuin natin. Isa na lang yung isosolve natin. Okay. By using or by multiplying some constants, i-add natin siya, and then you solve for the one of the variable, yung makukuha mo na sagot dun sa isang variable, isa-substitute mo in either of the two original equations. Kahit saan dapat doon sa equation, pag sinubstitute mo yung nakuha mo sa step 3, dapat parehas lang yung lalabas na sagot. Okay. Let's try to solve para mas malinaw. Example number 2, find the solution set of the system of nonlinear equations, of course, using elimination method. So, be careful lang. Sa pagpili ng i-eliminate, in choosing what variable to eliminate, kailangan parehas sila ng degree. Okay? Hindi mo pwedeng piliin si y and y squared dito because you can only multiply constants. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-multiply ng variable. So, constants lang, number lang yung pwede. Si y and y squared cannot be eliminated kasi hindi sila parehas ng degree. Okay, yung first equation has a degree of 1, while the second equation has a degree of 2. So, hindi mo siya pwedeng pagsamahin. Okay, luckily, yung x squared natin ay parehas na, parehas sila ng degree, parehas silang x squared. So, siya na lang yung i-eliminate natin. How are we going to do that? Step 1, we multiply, ay, dito ko na ilagay sa, ay, nandiyan na yung sagot kaagad. Ay, yung graph, sorry. Hindi ko nakalagyan ng animation. So, for step 1, we choose one of the equation kung saan ka magmumultiply. Pwedeng dalawa din sila para lang may ma-eliminate na variable. Ang aim natin is ma-eliminate sa x squared. Parehas naman silang x squared. Parehas din sila actually ng coefficient. So, ang gagawin mo na lang is kailangan opposite sila ng sign kasi parehas din sila ng sign. That means you can multiply negative 1 on equation 2 or pwede rin namang sa equation 1 ka mag-multiply ng negative. So, kopyahin ko lang ito sa next slide. We have x squared plus y minus 3 equals 0 for equation 1. And then for equation 2, isin ko lang yung 1 ko. Yan. For equation 2, x squared plus y squared minus 9 equals 0. That is equation 2. So, imumultiply ko si equation 1 ng negative 1 on both sides. That means, si x squared ay magiging negative x squared.
So, looking
The constant that you are going to multiply on any of the equations is in your own discretion. Basta you want to eliminate one of the variable, that is the aim. So, ikaw yung masusunod kung ano yung imumultiply mo. Okay, it is up to you what you are going to multiply, but it is very obvious that if you multiply negative 1, because your aim is to eliminate one of the variables, okay? You want that in this system of equations, you multiply something so that, for step 1, you multiply something so that one of the variables have equal coefficients but opposite in sign. As you can see, the x squared, the variable x squared, is already has already equal coefficients, right? So, ang aim mo na lang is for them to have opposite signs. And for them to have opposite signs, you multiply negative 1 on one of the equations. That's why we choose negative 1. Clear?
yes.
Okay. So, when we multiply negative 1, ayan, of course, you multiply both sides, left and right side of the equation, we will get negative x squared minus y. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. And then on the right side, 0 times negative 1 is still 0. So we have a new equation. So let's call that equation 3. And then I will just copy equation number 2, x squared plus y squared minus 9 equals 0. And the good thing for system of equations is that you can add them. Okay, add each term. So negative x squared plus positive x squared, that is 0. So the x variable is already eliminated. So I won't write it already kasi cancel naman, so 0. I can write 0 here, but still 0 is nothing, so I won't write it. Negative y, wala siyang ka-partner, no? Hindi sila parehas ng degree ni y squared. So ang gagawin ko lang is ikokopyahin ko na lang siya. So y squared minus y. No, we can't combine negative y plus y squared. We cannot add them because they have different degree. So we just copied it as is. However, positive 3 and negative 9 are the same numbers or the same constant, so we can add them. Positive 3 plus negative 9 is negative 6, and that is equal to 0. So we have another equation. Actually, this adding is already step 2. Yan, step 2. For step 3, we solve for the variable from the result of step 2. Our result is y squared minus y minus 6. So y squared minus y minus 6 equals 0. We solve for y. We can factor that out. Factor negative 6 with minus 3 and plus 2. Right? Okay, tama. Makukuha natin yung negative y sa gitna. And then, solve for y. Separately, y minus 3 equals 0. That gives us y equals 3. Y plus 2 equals 0. On the other hand, that gives us y equals negative 2. So our solution for y is 3 and negative 2. Step 4, we substitute these values to either of the equations. So kahit ano dyan, dito, kahit saan dito, dapat parehas lang yung sagot. So I choose equation 1. Equation 1 is x squared plus y minus 3 equals 0. When y equals 3, substitute that, x squared plus 3 minus 3 equals 0. Or that is positive 3 minus 3 is 0. So x squared equals 0. Take the square root on both sides, you get x equals 0. And therefore, the solution set, or the solution, one of the solution is 0, 3. Because x equals 0 when y equals 3. So that is 0, 3. X, y. That is one of the ordered pairs, or the solutions. For y equals negative 2, kasi dalawa yung nakuha nating equation or solution for y, ganun lang din yung gagawin natin. I-substitute natin yung negative 2 dun sa equation 1. So x squared minus 2 minus 3 equals 0, or that gives us x squared minus 5 equals 0. Transpose negative 5, we get x squared equals positive 5. Take the square root, and we get x equals positive and negative square root of 5. Sorry. So when y equals negative 2, we have two solutions for x, or we have two values for x when y equals negative 2. We have positive square root of 5, and we also have negative square root of 5. So the solution is positive square root of 5 when y equals negative 2, and negative square root of 5 when y is also negative 2. Yan na po yung sagot natin. So if we write that in a set, ang sagot natin is 0, 3, square root of 5, negative 2, and lastly, negative square root of 5, negative 2. And as you can see dun sa graph natin, here sa graph, the graph of equation 1 is a parabola kasi isa lang yung merong x squared. So, yung parabola dyan, ito yung equation 1. And then equation 2 is a circle. And as you can see, yung solution set natin is actually the point of intersections between the two graphs. Any questions? As you can see here, elimination method has limitations because for you to use elimination method, the equations in the system of nonlinear equations should have at least one variable with the same degree. Because you cannot use elimination method when the variable is doesn't have the same degree. For example, you cannot use elimination method in our example number 1. Let's go back to that. Here, you cannot use elimination method here because in the first equation 1, both of the variables has a degree of 2, have a degree of 2, and for equation 2, both of the variables also have a degree of 1. So, hindi mo pwedeng gamitin yung elimination method kasi wala kang makakancel dyan. No matter what constant you multiply on both equations, you cannot combine x squared or you cannot add x squared and x because they don't have the same degree. So, there. Although mas straightforward siya, sorry, mas straightforward tong elimination method, meron siyang limitations. Okay. Example 2 pa rin. Na-solve na natin ba? Yan. So, si substitution method, however, wala siyang limitation, pero ang disadvantage niya is, it is na, hassle siya kadalasan, lalo na yun nga, pag parehas na nonlinear yung equations mo sa equation, it takes more time than elimination method. Because elimination method, kung meron kang ma-eliminate, mas straightforward siya kumpara sa substitution. So, let's solve for example number 3. Okay, find the solution set of the nonlinear equations below. What do you think is the method that we're going to use? Both variables, x squared, y squared, parehas silang, ang degree ay 2. So, para sa akin, mas madali na gamitin natin yung elimination method. And by elimination method, step 1 is you multiply a constant para maging opposite. You have two variables there, parehas naman sila ng degree. So, kahit sa sino sa kanila ay pwede mong ma-eliminate. So, I will just ayun, meron na naman. Nandiyan na naman yung solution. Hindi ko nalagyan ng animation, sorry. X squared. So, actually, pwedeng kahit sinong variable ang eliminate natin kasi parehas silang parehas ang degree, no? So, kung i-eliminate mo for example, if you are going to eliminate x squared, anong gagawin natin? I will just copy equation 1, and then what I'm going to do is I will multiply -4 on both sides of the equation for equation 2. Ayan, pag nag-multiply ako ng -4, as you can see here, if we multiply -4 to equation 2, makukuha ko is -4 x squared plus 4x squared equals, negative din pala siya. Negative 4x squared equals negative 16. Pag nag-multiply ako ng -4 kasi, tapos inadd ko, as you can see, may eliminate na si x squared. So, ang matitira na lang is yung, y squared to. Y squared na lang, y variable na lang. So, meron tayong masosolve kagad-agad. Diba? You can also multiply by -3. Pag minultiply mo naman siya ng -3, so i-copy ko lang yung first equation. Pag minultiply mo ng -3, we get -3x squared minus 3y squared equals -12. Ang ma-eliminate naman kapag -3 yung multiply mo, yung y variable naman. At ang matitira naman is yung x. So, either way, parehas lang din yung lalabas na sagot. So, pili na lang tayo ng isa para mabilis tayo. So, yan na lang. -4. Nag-multiply tayo ng -4, add natin, and we get, syempre, cancel na yung 4x squared. Matitira dito sa kabila is negative y squared kasi positive 3 plus negative 4y squared, that is, or positive 3y squared plus negative 4y squared, that is negative y squared, and that is equal to, on the right side, 48 plus negative 16 is positive 32. I'll divide -1 both sides. Let's solve for, that is actually step 2. Isulat ko na lang para mas maayos tayo at organize. For step 2, yung nakuha nating result sa step 1, isolve natin yung variable na yon. So, negative y squared equals 32. Let's divide -1 both sides, and we get y squared equals negative 32. If we take the square root both sides, you see, anong magiging sagot? Imaginary. Right? Okay. Y equals the square root of a negative 32. And we all know that the square root of a negative number gives an imaginary. And that is an invalid solution because we only want a real solution. Ang gusto lang natin is real solution. Hindi natin kailangan ng imaginary na solution. And therefore, as you can see, wala tayong masosolve. Dahil imaginary yung nakuha nating y. Sir, baka si x, baka nung ginamit natin si x, baka may masolve tayo. So, let's try. If we multiply equation 2 by -3, we get negative 3x squared minus 3y squared, and that is equal to negative 12. And then if we add that,
So can you go back?
okay. Tapos pag in-add natin yan, we have positive x squared. Cancel na yung positive 3y squared minus 3y squared kasi 0. And then we get 48 equals 48 plus negative 12 is positive 36.
36.
Oh, sir, meron naman tayong na-solve. Yes, okay. Meron tayong na-solve na value na x. Okay? Pag square root tayo, I'll just draw a line here para to denote na alternate solution siya, okay? For step 2, pag nag-square root tayo, both sides, we get the value of, for x, positive and negative, 6. Okay? Meron tayong nakuhang real value ni 6. Okay. However, let's try to multiply. Substitute. I-substitute natin for one of the equations. Let's try yung equation 2, x squared plus y squared equals 4. If x equals 6, kasi dalawa yung solution natin, we have positive 6 and negative 6, we get 6 squared plus y squared equals 4. That is 36 plus y squared equals 4. Transpose mo siya, y squared equals 4. Si 36 magiging negative na, and that is equal to negative 32. And as you can see, pag nag-square root tayo, both sides, imaginary pa rin talaga yung y value. Kahit na real yung nakuha nating x. Pag sinubstitute natin yung y, negative square root of 32 pa rin. And that is the same for negative 6x. So, what is the solution? The solution set is null set. Ibig sabihin, wala tayong solution. Okay? So, ganun lang. Null set. Yan. There is no solution. Kasi, there is no real solution. No, imaginary yung solution natin. Kasi, actually, kapag graph natin, as you can see naman dito, yung graph na x squared plus y squared equals 4 ay circle, at yung graph ng 4x squared plus 3y squared equals 48 ay ellipse. At pag graph natin, as you can see, wala silang intersection. Diba dun sa previous example natin, yung mga nakukuha nating sagot is actually yung intersection ng graphs. But as you can see, nung graph natin, walang intersection. Ibig sabihin, walang solution kasi nga walang intersection. Eh yung solution, dapat yung magiging intersection ng graphs. Pero dahil nung graph natin, at wala tayong nakitang intersection, that only supports our conclusion na wala talagang solution. Walang real solution dito sa example number 3.